The topic is simplify or simplification. I'm going to do quite a lot of examples, but let's start with the easier ones. So here's 3a plus 7a. So one of the things that we also remember, if the base is the same, meaning if you see a there and a there, then you can almost treat it as, let's say, apples. 3 apples plus 7 apples. 3 bananas plus 7 bananas. Doesn't matter what object you want to use. But if you do that, then you can just have a and 3 plus 7 is 10. So 3a plus 7a, ask yourself what is 3 chocolates plus 7 chocolates? That's 10 chocolates. 3 apples plus 7 apples, that's 10 apples. So all of these you can do like this. Let's do another example. Here's the 5b plus 6b. Let's treat it as bananas. 5 bananas plus 6 bananas. Answer is 11 bananas. So you can only do this if the base is the same. Later on, we'll do some examples where you have A's and B's. Then I'll show you how to treat that. So the one of the first rules is the base must be the same. And then you can just add up these numbers. And then you get to 11. The 3 and the 7 gives you 10. Let's do another example. 2p plus 4p plus p. Again, the base is the same, which is p. So if the base is the same, you can just add up all the numbers. 2 plus 4. Now, if there's nothing in front of the p, just tell yourself there's an invisible 1. So in this case, there's a 1. So it's again 2 plus 4 plus 1. That gives you 7p. Do some more. 10x minus 2x. So the minuses you treat exactly the same. First look at the base. Both are x. And if both are x, then you can just say 10 minus 2. And 10 minus 2 equals 8. So the answer is just 8x. Now let's do a mixed one. 5a plus 2b plus a. So now the first thing we do, we have to group the terms together. Group the terms that has got the same variable. So a is a variable and b is a variable. So group that one. There's there's a, and there's a b. So just note, I include the numbers now as part of my grouping. So the a's, I'm just going to write it out first. So that equals, let's remove that equal sign. So that equals 5a plus a. I'm just grouping it together. And so 5a plus a. And then the plus. And then the plus 2b. So let's keep that the same color. So which is plus 2b. So I've just grouped it together. And now you can say equal the 5a plus a. Like we did the previous examples is 6a. And the 2b stays the same. We don't have more b's here in this example. That's why we only have the 2b over here. If I'm quiet, I'm always just double checking my work just to see if I don't make any mistakes. Because sometimes in maths, you can get very excited, do the maths quickly, and then make a simple mistake, and then you get the whole sum wrong. So 5a and a, 6a and 2b, so that looks correct. Let's do another example. Let's do a bigger one. 16x minus 4y plus 4x plus 12y. It looks big. What's the first thing we do? We need to group the variables that's the same. So the first question is, how many variables are we talking about? We have x. So there's a x and there's a x. And then we have y. We have y. There's a y and there's a y. So at the end, we're going to have two terms as our answers. One is x and one is y. So let's first do the x's. So I'm just going to do it once. So here we have, there we have 16x, and there we have 4x. So that answer is 20x. Then we have minus 4y plus 12y. You can either do it like this, minus 4 plus 12, or I like to do it, I just swap it around, put the positive first and the minus. So both answers will give you 8. So there you will get plus 8. Remember, if there's nothing in front of the number, then there's an invisible plus. Double check, 16x plus 4x is 20x, and 12y minus 4y is 8y. That looks correct. Next up, going to mix it up a bit. 7ab plus 3ab. The previous example, we had two different variables. In this case, it's only one variable. Why? Because there's an invisible multiplication sign. So AB actually means A multiplied by B, or A times B. Doesn't matter how they put it or how they pronounce it. All of this is the same. So if this is the same, this is actually one variable. So treat this as if this was an X or if it was something different. But see it as one variable. So let's go to our example. So in our example, we have 7b plus 3ab. So now the AB must be grouped together. That is one term, and again, so now we're only going to have AB, and we have the 7ab plus 3ab, which gives us 10ab. So again, what is important is just this variable over here, AB. We treat it as the same because it belongs with the 7. So if we could have written it differently, we could have said instead of AB, we're going to make it an X, and the answer could have been 7x plus 3x, and that would have, like the previous examples, is 10x. So I just changed the AB and made it an X just to simplify it. So if you look at this over here, it looks very similar to that. I just replaced the AB with the X, just to show that you must treat it as one variable. Let's do another example. So now we're going to do 10x squared plus 2x squared minus 5xy plus xy. Again, first steps, look at the variables that's the same. So let's see what we have. Here we have an x squared. It belongs to the 10, and here we have another x squared. Then we have an xy. So let's make that a different color. And then there's plus xy, which is different. So here's 4 terms. That's term number 1, term 2, term 3, and term 4. And each of them, why they are different terms? Because they are separated by the plus or the minus sign. Can you see the 4 terms? Okay, so let's just remove this. Now we're first going to do x squared, see if we can get the answer, and thereafter we're going to do xy. So just like the previous sum where we had AB that we treated as one term, now we're going to treat x squared as one term and xy as one term. So let's start with x squared. So here we have 10x squared plus 2x squared. If you treat x squared as one term, you can just put the x squared over here like I did, and then just say 10 plus 2, which equals 12. Then the xy, if there's nothing in front of this x there, just see that as invisible 1. So here we have the xy, and now we're going to say this here, minus 5 plus 1. So let's just write it here. Minus 5 plus 1. That answer is minus 4. So that minus 4, we're going to put over here. So let's just check again. Here we have x squared. So 10 plus 2 is 12x squared. Here we have xy. So that's plus 1xy. So that means we have minus 5. And a plus 1, which gives us a minus 4 with the xy. So there you have the answer. Let's move over to some multiplication and division. And we still with the simplify. Here we have, start small, a times a. So a times a, if you see nothing here on top, just treat that as an invisible 1. And a rule in maths is, if you have something like this, then you add up the two numbers there on top. So the a1 times a1 becomes a1 plus 1, and that answer is a squared. So if you see again, a times a or a times a, just treat it as, look at as a times a, the answer is a squared. All right, let's do a similar one. So your a squared times a3, same like the previous one. So now we have a 2 and a 3 on top, that 2 and that 3. And again, the rule is we add it up, 2 plus 3. Then the answer is a to the 5, or a to the power 5. Let's do another one. 4a times 2a. Now we're sitting with some numbers. And we have this one variable. So we have the variable of a, which is the answer of a. But remember, there's an invisible 1 on top. So we have to add that up. So a1 times a1, or just a times a, gives us a squared. But we need to do the numbers as well. So 4 times 4 times 2 gives us 8. So the answer for a times 2a is 8a squared. Another example, 6a times 3b. Now we don't have different variables because there's a and there's a b. But we can multiply it together. And if we multiply it together, we're just going to have ab. So let's just break it down first. So a times b, that answer is just ab. X times y, and notice the dot means a times or multiplication. So x times y is xy. So this is something we can do because there's no plus or minus anywhere here. We can just get to that answer quickly. So let's come back to the sum. 6a times 3b. So there we already wrote ab, and then we just do the 6 multiplied by 3, and that answer will give us 18. Just check again. 6 times 3 is 18. A times b is just ab. Let's do another one. 3a plus 2. So this is but different than the previous one. So 3a plus 2. Remember, we always do first what is outside of the bracket, and then we multiply it with each term inside the bracket. So we're going to do the 3 times a first, and then the 3 times 2. So let's start with the first one, 3 times a. So 3 times a, to do it separately, it means like this, 3 times a, and that we can just write as 3a. So let's just move that and write a 3a over there. That's the first one. So we first do this one, and now the second one we're going to do, which is 3 times 2, and 3 times 2 is just 6. There's a plus over there and a plus, and as you can remember, plus and a plus gives you a plus. So 3a plus 6 is the answer. 3a, next example, plus a minus 5. Getting big now, we're going to start to write the answers at the bottom. So again, first look at how many terms have we got. So there's a term and there's a term. Just remember BODMAS. If you haven't looked at my video for mixed operations, please look at that, because in there I explain how to multiply the plus and the minuses and the brackets with each other. So 3a, we keep just like that. And then let's just put the plus there. And then we do the a times a, and then we're going to do a times minus 5. So a times a, we're going to have a squared. And then a times minus 5, we're going to have 5a. We have a plus over here and a minus over there. So the plus and the minus gives us a minus. So you can see all the sums are now starting to gel into each other. And the smaller ones is now part of the bigger sums like this. That's why it's extremely important to know the basics of the maths in grade 8 in order to understand the bigger sums. Let's just double check the work again. 3a, a times a is a squared, and a times minus 5 is minus a, minus 5a. Are we finished yet? No, we're not, because we must still simplify. Why we need to simplify? Because there we see 2 terms with 2 variables out with a, and because we can further simplify it, we need to do that, and we only have 1a squared. So 3a plus 5a, sorry, 3a minus 5a gives us minus 2a, and then the a squared is alone. There's no other a squared, so that stays just like this. And there you have the answer. Do some more examples. Oops. 3a plus 2 plus 4a minus 6. Let's look at the like terms. So there's a 3a, there's a 4a, there's a plus 2, and there's a minus 6. So the 3a plus 4a gives us 7a, and the plus 2 minus 6, that gives us minus 4. So another one, I'm gonna do this. So minus 8m, I'm just gonna wipe this out because I think the next sum might be a bit too big for the screen. The next is minus 8m squared minus, let's start again, is squared minus 5m squared. So just look at this minus. There's a lot of minuses in this sum. So that's why we just have to be very careful if we do this. So let's see how we can tackle this. Again, first look at group what we're going to do first or second. So this stands alone, so we don't need to do anything right now. But here we'll have to do something to do this. So keep him, number 1, keep him number 2. So let's do this one first, and there's no need to do anything, so do that. So the second one, we sit with the m squared, but now, if there's nothing in front of the bracket, it means there's a 1. So we have to do minus 1 times minus 5, and that answer will give us plus 5. So the minus and a minus is a plus. 1 times 5 is 5. So now we have minus 8m. And what is now nice, we have two terms, which is the same, which is m squared. So now we can just add this up. And minus 8m squared plus 5m squared. Let's first just do the m squared. And then minus 8 minus 5. That answer will give you minus 3. Let's double check. And I always double check my work, each and every line that I do. Sometimes I just do it in my head, but that's why you know, if you know it's right, and then you can continue with confidence. So there's a minus 8m times, this will give you plus 5m squared. That is the same, and minus 8 plus 5 is minus 3. Like I mentioned, sometimes you can do if you do this, you can easily write the answer as 3. If you do it quickly as 8 minus 5 or something like that. And if you write it as 3, then the answer will be wrong. So that's just the smaller things like that I always double check. Okay, let's do another bigger one. 2x plus 8 minus 3x minus 7. Why I say it's bigger? It's not bigger really. It's just because we're dealing now with a negatives as well. 2x, and especially this year. That's just what they want to show you. So group the x's, group the numbers. So the x's are now going to be 2x minus 3x. So it's 2x minus 3x. But this is going to be 2 minus 3, which is minus 1. But you don't need to write the minus 1. You can just write the answer as x. So that we're going to write over here. Sorry, not x, minus x. See, that's why I always say double check my work. Minus x. So let's just take that out. Make that a bit neater. Why I always take it out and write it neater? Because sometimes if the teacher can't read what you have written, although we have written the correct information down, if the teacher can't see it, then they might mark your answer wrong. That's why I just always try to write it out as neatly as possible. For you that's going to write with a pencil or with a pen, what I did, if the line is unclear, I just scratch out the line and just write it neatly below that. Okay, let's continue with the sum. We still have the plus 8 and minus 7. So 8 minus 7, that gives us plus 1. So 2x minus 3x minus x, and 8 minus 7, that's plus 1. Now let's do a much bigger one. I'm going to write smaller. 11x squared minus 8x plus 1 minus 7x plus 13x squared minus 11. It looks big, but break it down. I like to use different colors just to make it more clearer for myself, and I'm sure it helps for you as well. So let's group. There's a x squared, and there's a x squared. There's no more x squareds in here. Let's look at the x's. There's a x, and there's a x. There's some numbers as well. There's a number, and there's a number. So it looks like we've grouped everything. So let's continue. Let's start with the x squareds. So the x squareds, you're going to have the 11 plus 13. That gives you 24. Now let's look at the x's. You have minus 8 over there and minus 7. That gives you minus 15. And then you have the plus 1 over there and the minus 11. That gives you minus 10. Minus 11 plus 1, that's minus 10. Checking if that's right. So double checking again. 11 plus 13 is 24x squared. Minus 8x minus 7x is minus 15x. And plus 1 minus 11, that's minus 10. So just keep in mind this. So we're going to write this below. So minus 8x minus 7x. It's not like the previous ones where we said a minus and a minus is a plus, and this times this. So it's not 8 times 7. This term, the minus is here because you don't see any bracket. It means we're sitting with two separate terms, which is this one and this one. If we would have had a bracket that looked like, do this color, it looks like this, maybe minus 8x times minus 7x. That would have been different. Then it's a multiplication sum. We will have to say x times x is x squared. And then 8 times 7, that's that 56. And then a minus, this minus and a minus, which gives us a plus. So just be very careful of that you don't mix up the two. So that's just what I wanted to highlight over there. Do more examples. Minus 3x times minus 2x. Now this is the one I spoke about earlier, where we have the brackets. So let's first do, so this is one bracket times that bracket. So we can just multiply that with each other. But before we do that, let's just keep this minus over here and put everything in the bigger bracket. So let's do the x first. X times x, that gives us x squared. Then we do the minus 3 times minus 2. That gives us 6. But we still need to remove this bracket over here. To remove that, if there's nothing in front of the bracket, there's a 1. And if there's nothing in front of the 6, there's a plus. So now you actually see this becomes just the x squared. And then minus 1 times plus 6. That answer is minus 6. So let's just double check again. We have x times x is x squared. Minus 3 times minus 2 gives us plus 6. And then we have to remove this bracket. And then it's minus and a minus is a plus. So then that's your answer. Just be very careful of the signs, plus and the minuses, because if you don't get that right, then your whole answer will be wrong. So just be very careful how you do that. Let's just do another bigger one. 5a minus 4, a plus 1. Yeah, this is not so big. So again, let's keep that together. And that one, let's first do that. Then we can do that. So just keep the 5a below each other. Minus 4. Oh, sorry, we're going to multiply now. So what we're going to do now, and just remove this, we are going to say multiply the minus 4 with each term inside of the bracket. So we're first going to say minus 4 times a, that gives us minus 4a, and then minus 4 times 1 gives us minus 4. Now we see if we have any like terms. Yes, we do. There's a 5a and there's another a. So let's do this. 5a minus 4a gives us only 1a, but we don't need to write the 1a, so we can remove that. And then minus 4. A minus 4. And just check. We have 5a. That becomes minus 4a. That becomes minus 4. 5a minus 4a is just a minus a, and that is as simplified as what we can possibly get. 2ab plus 2a, b plus 3. So let's see how we can tackle this one. So let's leave this first for later. Let's maybe tackle the green part first, because we have some brackets that we have to remove. So leave the 2ab. So now we're going to use the plus 2a, multiply by b, and then plus 2a, multiplied by plus 3. So plus 2a multiplied by b, that gives us plus 2ab, and plus 2a multiplied by 3 gives us plus 6a. Now we look, do we have any like terms? Yes, we do. There's an AB and an AB. There's only an A over here, not an AB. So therefore, we have to treat it differently. So if we have like terms like AB, we can add that together. Therefore, 2AB plus 2AB, that becomes 4AB. And then we only write the plus 6A. Then we know that is complete. Just double checking, 2a times 3 is 6a. 2ab plus 2ab is 4ab, and there's a 6a, so that's as simplified as possible. 5 multiplied by 3m minus 4n plus 1. So we have 3 terms here, 3m minus 4n and plus 1. So we're going to take the 5. Remember, there's a plus in front, so we're going to multiply that with each one in the bracket. So 5 times 3m, that gives us 15m. The 5 times 4n gives us, there's an n, and 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 4 is 20. And the plus and the minus gives us a minus. Then we do the last one, 5 times 1. That gives us plus 5. Checking again, 5 times that is 15m. 5 times minus n is minus 20n. 5 times 1 is 5. Now we have 3 terms, but all of them are different. There's a m, here's a n, and here's a number. So we can't do anything further at this stage. So the answer is just as it is. Let's just do one last example. 5 minus 2x plus y minus 2y minus 2x. Just giving this because we're sitting here with a lot of signs again. X. So let's just see how we can approach this. Here we have a bracket. Remember BODMAS. So look at the bracket there. There we have a bracket. And there we have a number. So it looks like 3 terms. Term 1, 2, and 3. So let's do each term separately. So let's start with the first one. We can't do anything now. Let's leave it there. 5 minus. So I'm just going to put everything in a bracket for now. Why? Because usually this minus we need to multiply out later. So that's why I just like to keep it minus and then everything in a bracket. So now let's do this part over here. Minus 2 times x and then minus 2 times y. So that answer will be minus 2x minus 2y. Then on the right hand side, we have the minus. We can't do anything right now, so let's just keep that for now. We're going to multiply this minus out just now. So that's equal to 5. So let's multiply this out. So there's, we're going to do this minus, so it's actually minus 1 multiplied by that. And secondly, minus 1 multiplied by that one. So first, just remove this. So the first one, minus 1 multiplied by minus 2x. That answer is plus 2x. Then minus 1 multiplied by minus 2y. That answer is plus 2y. Now let's do the right hand side as well. There's also a 1. So the minus 1 times 2y gives us minus 2y. And the minus 1 times minus 2y, that gives us plus 2x. Let's just check everything. There's a 5. That's plus 2x plus 2y minus 2y plus 2x. Looks right. So there we have 5. Let's just group everything as a 5. Is there another number? No. So there's a x. Is there another x? There we go. Is there a y? There's a y, and there's a y. So if you just look at these two y's over here, you have a plus 2y and a minus 2y. So we're actually saying it's 2 minus 2, and that answer is 0. So we're not going to write anything further with this. We're just going to ignore it. But I'm just showing you why we're ignoring it. Because 2 minus 2 is 0. So now we don't need the yellow part. The green part, we have the plus 2x plus 2x. And that answer will give us plus 4x. So this answer is going to be 5 plus 4x. Thank you very much. Goodbye.